Welcome back. What we're going to be doing now is working on our 55 Ford frame. Your first video that we actually did was just the basic cross members. Now we're going to start showing you how some of the bracketry goes together. Once you bought the kit, it comes with the instruction sheets and it tells you all the extra holes that you may have to drill if it doesn't pick up a factory one. So these videos are going to kind of show you what the brackets look like and how they're going together. What we got is a front cab bracket made up out of 3 different styles. We've got an inner and an outer cab bracket itself, and then we actually have the cab mount. And as we're seeing through the video, you're going to see how these are all going to be bolted together. The first one's going to end up being that it's going to have a bottom shoe to it, and it's going to have 3 different individual holes. It's going to pick up the 3 holes with the original crossmember set into the S-10 transmission. This we've got to replace underneath the bottom of it. And then what we're going to be doing there is we're going to be using just 1/2-inch bolts, 3 inches in length, kind of sliding them up here through the bottom and putting them into place. Holding that up there a little bit, and I kind of cheated and had all my nuts and bolts laid out. We'll use a flat washer, we'll put a star washer over it, and we'll actually use a nut. Alright, what we've got down is the outside front cab bracket is actually in place now. Now this inner one here you're seeing has actually got a bent 90 to it on the bracketry. In the instructions it talks about why it's there. What we've actually done is we got our bolts started here. A couple of 1/2-inch bolts are actually holding it up into place. I've got the last one. We're going to actually put it in there and kind of show you how it all goes together. Using the flat washer, again using that star washer, just placing the nut in here. And I tell everybody all the time, and you'll hear me saying that from time to time throughout all the videos, make sure you leave everything just loose. You want to get everything started with all your nuts and bolts, and then you can go back and tighten everything down. Alright, so what we're going to be looking at doing now is this next step is in this bracket on the inside and the outside, you're going to have a couple of holes that are actually going to be being lined up. I've been using just a 1-inch by a 3/8 by 1-inch bolt. We're going to actually place these in and pull the 2 brackets together. Alright, so we've got actually the inner and outer bracket itself being put together here. Now there's 2 bolts that are actually going to go from the outside of the frame and the bracket going through the frame, and they're going to be 4 inches in length. We've got one in place right now, so we'll just go ahead and put the other one in. After you got everything going kind of just snug down a little bit, your last bracket that you're going to actually put in place is going to be the cab mount itself. This was actually designed, it will actually pick up the 2 factory holes that we've got drilled into both of these brackets, and you also have 2 holes into the front. So it keeps that bracket nice and firm and it won't allow it to slip around. Using an 1.5-inch long bolt, we're going to be able to get this thing kind of started in there, lining it up. This is where it's important to making sure all these brackets are kind of loose so you can actually get them placed and put into place. Put your big washer on it, flat washer, your star washer. And like I said, the star washers are going to be something that's going to be used in final assemblies only. Not necessary to have these put into place when you're just mocking things up. Alright, so we kind of got everything kind of mocked up there in the back. What we're going to do is put the 2 final bolts in the front end. Again, I had some things kind of laid out here, kind of thrown all around so you can grab them pretty easily. What we're going to do is just going to start these 2. Put our nuts and washers onto them, and we'll be able just to kind of tighten it up as we go. We just finished up on the driver's side, and again, we just left everything kind of loose. We'll go back through it and we'll start tightening everything on. The passenger side is going to be made up of 3 different brackets as well. You have an inner and an outer, and at the same time you do have the cab mount. So this one right here is going to be the outer one. Now you're actually going to see that there's a 90 bend on the bracket, like it's talked about in your instruction sheet. This will actually go towards the outside of the frame, so it's your running board bracket to go onto. So what we're going to be doing is picking up 4-inch, half-inch bolt. We're putting it into place, lining up our holes, dropping these in here. Again, big washer, star, and finishing up with the nut when it comes time. What we're going to be doing here is going to get both bolts started. It's going to be the easiest way to doing it, and then be able to put on the inside cab bracket. We're going to line this up so it'll actually end up going over there like this, like we talked about. Go ahead and put them big washers on here, leaving everything loose again. Alright, so now the actual cab mount itself is going to have a single bolt into the front. It's going to pick up this one here off your edge, and then the 2 bolts onto the rear. We're going to end up using an 1.5-inch bolt on this to pull in these 2 together, and then just use a 1-inch bolt here. Alright, what we've got is all of our bolts started. What we ended up doing here is, like I said, don't be afraid to kind of muscle your parts around. Sometimes, you know, after you got done putting them together for that final, you may have to line up a hole. Don't be afraid again. Use it like a lineup pin or something like this. But we got everything in place. What we're going to end up doing now is going back and just tightening everything down. Hey, welcome back. The first thing that we actually want to talk about now in our next step of our process is, you've watched the video before. We've actually showed you on the front cab mounts. Now we're getting into the other parts that actually are the same mirrored images that you'll hear us talking about from time to time, meaning that the driver's side and passenger side brackets are identical, just reversed to match either side that it's going to be bolted to. What I've got here in my hand right now is going to be the rear cab bracket. They actually be mounted onto the side of the frame. This will actually, you know, after you've got done with your instruction sheets and you've got your holes drilled, you'll be able to put this in position. It'll end up going right here. What we'll end up doing is we're using the 3/8 by 1-inch bolts with our washers and lock washers and nuts, and we'll get it all bolted in. Okay, we're going to finalize this last bolt we got going in here, and we're getting this put into place. Now again, what I've done is I've actually just left everything kind of loose. That's the best thing to do about it. Our next step is going to actually end up being is the cab mount itself. What we're going to see there is we're going to actually be using a 2-inch long bolt with a rubber cushion that we have the body sitting onto, and using up a bracket that resembles like this. This bracket is designed to actually work in the same conjunction as what the factory bracket was that the rear of the cab used on the 53 and 56 Fords. So here we go with this. We'll just end up taking the bolt, putting it from the bottom side with a washer on it, place the cushion over top. We'll end up taking our bracket here, making it so that this dog leg that you're seeing right here will actually be pointed outward, away from the frame. We're going to use a flat washer. We're going to be using a star to locking it all down, and a nut. Again, I always recommend putting everything on there, letting it set kind of loose. Then when you get all your brackets on, kind of go back through, tighten everything down. All right, we've already got all of our cab mounts put in position now. We're going to start working on our box mounts. This one you're seeing in my hand is going to be the front box mount. Actually, it's going to end up picking up 2 holes on the side, and we're going to have 2 holes on the top of the frame. By locking it all in, it can't go or move anywhere. Again, using the 1-inch long 3/8 bolts, we're going to start kind of finding our holes that we've got pre-drilled and put this thing together. A lot of times what I'll end up doing is I'll lay out a lot of bolts and washers, kind of getting prepared for myself. Most of the kit, everything's going through there is using the same type of bolt and hardware. Alright, that's going to just kind of laid there together. Make it a set and wait for us. We've already done on everything on the driver's side as well, so right now we're just kind of moving down the frame. Alright, we've got all of our cab brackets on now. We actually started doing the front box brackets. We're kind of moving back towards the front a little bit. Right you're seeing me holding my hand now is actually going to be the rear running board bracket. There is a driver and passenger side. They're mirrored again. This one actually picks up a factory hole. Like I said, then you end up drilling the 2 holes. In your instruction sheets when you buy the kit, everything will actually tell you where to measure from and what kind of holes you need to drill. So we're going to go ahead and put this on it right now. What it's going to do is we're going to line up over top of our original hole, place the bolt back up through again. Again, a washer, a lock washer, and a nut. Bracket here is only designed to actually have 2 bolts into it, not necessarily having to use the existing hole where it lined up. Our next step after that is to stay right with this same bracket, putting on a running board. This running board mounting bracket actually is a rear one, and what this is going to do is you're seeing the bend of the 90 degree, and that's actually going to be forcing, or not forcing, but actually showing, pointing to the rear of the frame, where you'll see us putting on a front one here, it actually points to the front. What you want to end up doing there is you just put it onto the bracket itself, the back side, and again we'll end up using the 1-inch 3/8 bolts. Alright, what we were talking about earlier was just putting on the running board brackets. We actually got the rear one in place here. Like I said, it actually set to the back side of the bracket that would come off to the frame. Our front one was done the same way. We just used 3/8 hardware, 1-inch long with the star washers and washer and nut. And it actually sets on the back side of the bracket as well when you line them up. So both running board brackets should be pointing opposite of each other, so it lines back up to the factory mounts off the running board itself. Our next bracket we're going to actually be moving into on the next video is going to start talking more about that box. The rear box bracket is actually just a very simple design as well. You're going to have 2 bolts that's actually going to be in the top of your cross member here. Now, in the instruction sheets, it talks about this being our rear cross member frame, and you'll have to end up drilling these 2 holes, but it gives you the measurements, of course. We use this cross member in a lot of different applications. So the box mount itself here is going to be the same thing. You're going to see an oval slot. That's actually going to be on the down bottom side of this and pointing outward. So we're going to just bolt it on. Again, same hardware, 3/8, 1-inch long. We'll get her bolted up here. Alright, we're just finishing kind of putting that last bolt into place. Again, everything is left loose. I'll step out of the way for a minute. You can actually see both brackets are on the very back of the cross member. Oval slots, again, pointing downward but yet out. So that'll actually help you on the direction of it. What we've got now is you're going to actually go back over it one more time, and I'll show you. We've got our front box mount. That'll actually set up here on your front cross member as far as your header or your box. You've got the second mount here that bolts to the camel hump. The trick is back here on this third brace that we actually have is a shock gusset brace. We've got a long oval slot. By putting this long oval slot, you're going to actually have the cross member that's going to set in here and be able to bolt in. Then we're going to be able to do actually our last one. That's going to be at the very back of the cross member, our frame cross brace. That's all that's going to be done to mount the box.